Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Grab a cold one, crank up the volume, and join the show. Welcome to NVNR Live. And here we go.
It's no block, no rock.
We are No Block, No Rock. This is Cornhusker Counseling. We are here for your weekly therapy appointment where we go over the triumphs and the traumas of the most recent Husker football game. Fellas, Nebraska goes to Hollywood, and I figure this will be like a cute little opening, you know? There's a lot of people in Hollywood that get crap for, making spin-offs, a lot of sequels, right? Why don't they ever have any original things, right? Avengers 8, Star Wars up the butt, right? Mike loves Star Wars. He watches all the Star Wars stuff. Same old script. Same old script. You would think Sierra Wright, pick 6. Could we have a twist ending? Could this be like an M. Night Shyamalan movie where we get a different ending or something crazy? But no.
Well, you're right about the whole sequel thing. This is Cornhusker Counseling, powered by Hurrdat Sports. We do have a super chat right off the bat from our loyal listener, the BA Coaches Show, and he said, "I am only here because my love for MBNR." So, it is tough. It's tough being a Husker fan right now because I feel like you're getting pulled in multiple directions as a fan. You're seeing this losing, and we've been so familiar with this losing. And it's like your brain is telling you, hey, like, this is a bad investment. There's no return on your investment.
Your brain's telling you, you're in pain. Stop doing the thing that's making you feel pain.
Right.
I'm a bad fan. No, you're not.
And then you have the fandom in you, the thing that pulls your heartstrings and makes you put on your Husker Red every Saturday, no matter what happens. And it's tough. It really is. Like, I don't blame the fans that are kind of checked out. But on the flip side, I'm trying to be on the other side of this where I'm like, just put the N on 2 more times and see what happens. Yeah. Because we do our job. We've talked about this 100 times on this show. As a fan base, we do our job carrying this program through mediocrity and always showing up, doing our job. And guess what? Yesterday was another example of Nebraska showing up and not doing their job.
I'm jealous. You talk about you're being pulled in 2 different directions because I feel like I'm only being pulled in one, and it's down every week. Just pulls me back down. And like you said, Mike, every Saturday I get up, I put on my N, I put on my clown makeup, and I watch 60 minutes of pain.
You send your happy game day text to everybody.
That is every single Saturday. It's the first thing I do.
I know.
Is I text you guys and say happy game day. And you know how hard it is to type the word happy right now? It's not easy.
It's auto-correcting to another word that I can't say because we're on Hurrdat.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and you say happy game day. Maybe this is a ritual you should stop doing because we're not winning with it.
Yeah.
And we could definitely lose without it.
Lose without your annoying texts.
Matt Rule's going to hear that I didn't send that text and just be like, all right, now we can turn it on.
Okay. This first segment of triumphs will not be long. What do you guys got? What are you taking good from this?
I mean, it's the obvious one. We went to Hollywood. We brought our actor back to Hollywood.
That's right.
And he showed out.
Yeah.
He performed a round of applause performance, standing ovation. But guess what? The rest of the play was bad.
Mhm.
Like the show was bad. Everything was bad. But the star of the show was great. He did a great job. Sierra Wright was fantastic yesterday. I mean, from the pick six to the blocked field goal, he was doing everything in his power to beat his old team. But the problem with football, and I tried to explain this to our friend Tobias last night, he was trying to compare the sports, football and wrestling.
That's a
Right.
Okay.
And I say, the problem with football is that 11 guys have to do their job every play in order to succeed. Or wrestling, it's mano y mano. It's 1v1. If Sierra Wright was going 1v1 against USC yesterday, he won.
Yeah.
But the problem is there's 10 other guys on the field that play the game, and it just didn't work out for him. But Sierra Wright would have to be the number one triumph of this team.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Going home.
You call him our actor. I would say his performance was like a guy winning Best Actor in a really horrible movie. Like, he got the Oscar, but the movie was a flop. That's really what I've got.
No,
I see it right was it.
I think a thing that will come up as this episode progresses is make a play. Sierra Wright made 2 by himself that should have been consequential in the end, should have resulted in a dub in the end. So a common theme that we're going to talk about is make a play. Sierra Wright, this does not apply to you because I feel like he did what he had to do.
He did his job.
Above and beyond.
So any other positives?
So we did have a BA in the chat. He said, as far as triumphs go, he said Sierra Wright and the field goal unit.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what we've got. I'd say Bushini, he punted pretty well. And special teams, it was okay at times.
Okay, so the positive of special teams is, although there were moments of WTF, why'd you catch it at the 4-yard line?
That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think as a whole, haha.
I get it. Yeah. We didn't laugh because it's not that we didn't get it.
We just laughed because it wasn't that funny.
Shut up. What have we asked of this special teams unit? What have we asked from them? Do not be a hindrance.
Yeah, don't be a detriment.
Don't be a detriment. And I think it's fair to say, I think a net positive.
Yeah,
from this game.
I would agree. I would say one more triumph.
Okay.
And this is for all the, well, I don't know if Dana Holgerson, he runs air raid and this and that. He's not going to want to run the ball. There were times where our offensive line and our running game, they looked dominant. Both our running backs, they were running very hard. They both averaged a ridiculous amount of yards per carry. And
well, I don't want to say ridiculous, but
I think it was like 6. I think somebody was at 6.9. I think was Dowdell, and I think Emmett was about the same. They both had like 8 carries. So
they were decent.
They played well.
I think the one thing that I heard a lot leading up to this game was, the whole Holgerson runs an air raid thing. It's like, if you think he is making that big of a change in 1 week at Nebraska, you are crazy. I was like, I think we saw what I would call mostly competent play calling.
Yeah.
And that's what he came in here to do. Like, maybe if he's around next season, you'll see that scheme change up a bit more. But with 3 weeks left to go, like, there was no shot in heck that he was going to make that shift that quick.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that overall, the offense, gosh, dude, it's such a fine line because they didn't do nearly enough, okay?
No,
but
they didn't score. They couldn't score.
Like, you saw sprinkles in there where it's like, okay, that's a little different. Like, Janiron Bonner actually touching the ball 3 times.
The checkdowns, those were different.
Yeah.
Like, the checkdowns were, I think that was one of like the growth things that Dylan needed to work on, was when nothing is there, have that safety blanket, have a check down option. And it looked like yesterday it was like really emphasized, maybe even too much.
Yeah, because, I would argue too much. Yeah,
because there was times where he would check it down to Emmett, and I'm like, dude, you had a guy sitting there. Like, what are we doing? But I think this is the first step that Dylan needs to take, though, is maybe do it so much that maybe it's too much, but then at least he's doing it so that's in the back of his mind. I don't know. I'm trying to like grasp at straws here.
Yeah, I mean, none of us know.
But it's one of those things that I think Dylan was, when he didn't look uncomfortable yesterday in the pocket. And I think that was because he was able to check the ball down and he knew he had a safety blanket. It looked like that was something that was emphasized this week.
Yeah, and like it was just one play, but I remember, Luke Lindenmeyer, of all people, like catching a pass I think it was for a first down. Like, oh, that's different. But yeah, I mean, Holgorsen, anything else you want to add about Holgorsen? It's only
Not really.
He's been here for 2 weeks technically, right? I mean,
Kinda.
who knows really?
Right.
I would call it a marginal thumbs up. On
Yeah.
Henderson.
I mean, if we are trying to find trauma or triumphs, I would say there were small pieces of the offense that were triumphs. But once again, this goes back to what I said about Sierra Wright. Football is an interesting sport where everybody has to do their job on every single play in order to succeed. And there was times when not everybody did their job on the offense and the defense. And we'll get into traumas. I feel like there's going to be a lot of traumas.
You know what? I feel like this is a stretch. This is a stretch, okay?
Get to stretch.
I feel like Jamal Banks had a few good blocks.
He did. He blocked well. Fedoni blocked well too.
Hey, yeah, dude.
Maybe we go. The Holgorsen triumph that we just talked about. Maybe he is helping a little bit with the wide receiver room because perimeter blocking wasn't a major issue like it has been all year. And Jamal Banks, if you want to say, kind of a borderline triumph as well. He had he had some catches, and he had some that, were taken away opportunities to even make plays on the ball.
Sure.
Yeah.
Especially that one that was reviewed on the sideline and he's getting yanked the opposite direction. Of course, you don't call that, even though you have a ref standing right there. And then, of course, the last play of the game. So it was bad.
They don't want to be.
They
don't want to have a hand in the end result of the game.
Right,
they want to stay out of it.
Stay out of it. Yeah.
Bro, like,
come on, dude.
Yeah.
They were physical. All game from the first pass of the game. I was like, oh, so that's how they're going to let us play. They're going to be able to grab us 10 yards down the field. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Jamal Banks, wasn't even number 4 on that play. He was like a different number.
Yeah. Cause the jersey was pulled so much. You were talking about stretching. His jersey stretched so far.
I know. Okay.
Are we on to traumas?
Okay.
We just flipped the page to the nice long list of traumas.
Okay. I'll start with the defense. Is Tommy Hill a dog?
No.
I'll just say this. I hope he's injured because that's the only excuse for, that play that stands out above all else.
Just not being able to push a guy out of bounds. Like, what are we doing?
I hope he's
no
injured.
effort. No
Dude,
effort.
Like, we're talking, and look, he may very well be a high round pick, but he's not going to use the USC game as his tape. I'll tell you that much. Because that was bad. It was just that. You can't question effort, man. We're questioning effort right now, bro. Right. Is he a dog? I thought he was a dog.
Supposed to be.
Go on.
I mean, earlier in the season, we were talking about, maybe like a late first or maybe early mid second round pick. I can't see that out of Tommy anymore.
No,
this season just has not been at all what we had expected.
Well, and Tommy Hill is just like the rest of the team has regressed quite a bit.
Yeah.
And other guys are stepping up like Sierra Wright, and they have no choice. They have to. And there was times in that game too where Tommy Hill, he got mossed on one of the plays.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was Hartzog, and we'll get into Hartzog. He is, sometimes it's not his fault, but I'm just telling you, that goes into coaching and why you've got your 5'8" corner out there. But we go back to effort, and it's like, what are you doing, Tommy Hill? Yeah. You are physically gifted. That is why you are projected to go in these higher rounds of the NFL draft. You are physically gifted. The dude could play wide receiver for Nebraska. He played all over the field. He's played multiple positions. He's wore multiple numbers at Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Got a single digit. And what is going on with these single digits? I mean, Ty and Nash played well until it mattered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that. But
just the secondary in general, guys. Rule brings in Phil Snow. And it makes you think, why? Why are you bringing Phil Snow in? Phil Snow is like 80 years old. He wants to retire. He doesn't want to coach. Leave Phil Snow alone. Why are you bringing him in? You got the Evan Cooper thing. John Butler comes in. Technically, I think we could say he's a good coach, right? He's in the NFL for a long time. For a good team, he's a good coach. But it looks like John Butler and Tony White are oil and water, I guess. Because why else would you bring in Phil Snow? Like, there's a gap that needs to be bridged there. And I think some plays that USC made, they took advantage of this secondary's inability to just
Play football.
Communicate. Well, Sierra Wright, the exception. Thank you.
Outside of Sierra Wright.
I mean, the communication. Look, Gifford. I mean,
dude, he is. I think you're almost at a point with Isaac Gifford that, and even Singleton was playing just so poorly. But
single digits.
Isaac Gifford is like the definition of, he's a Nebraska guy, so he has to play. Like, he's at a point now where he's a detriment to the defense. Even if he's in position, he's not athletic enough to make plays. And he leads the team in tackles because they're getting to his level.
Yeah.
Like, that's an issue.
Yeah.
Something needs to happen with Isaac Gifford. We've got a whole bunch of young DBs that all have red shirts, and they can play. They're allowed to play. You need to see, I think this is a good opportunity for Matt Rule to maybe turn the page and see what you have, because you won't have Isaac Gifford next year. Maybe you give some of these young guys some reps in these next 2 games, because, I mean, it's effort things at this point. And then there's physical things. And that goes into the Isaac Giffords of the world, who is not physically talented enough to be playing the position he's in. And then it goes into Hurrdat, who isn't tall enough to be playing outside corner. I don't know why they were putting him at corner yesterday again. I thought he was a safety. They made that clear he's a safety. And yesterday,
but no, he's matched up.
He's matched up against a 6'4" receiver. And just everything. Just through his fingers. We have a $10 super chat from BA Coach's Show.
Hey, BA.
And he wants to talk traumas. And this is, I'm sure, on our list. So we'll just get to it now.
Is it defensive related? Or?
I think it goes, it's bigger than that, but it's fine. Well, we will definitely hit it now. Trauma. You know how much I love and defend Rule. I am baffled and over the game management. Every decision goes against everything I've ever learned. I'm tired of wasted timeouts and bad decisions. I'm sure this is a trauma that we had on here. Yeah. And it's been a trauma since Matt Rule's got here.
It's in all caps right here, man. I got it in bold.
Okay. Read what you got. I think we just hit on that now.
No. I mean, you're itching to say something. So go.
Am I crazy, or is it every week when we come here to do counseling, we talk about clock management? We talk about this every single week. How has nobody learned on this staff that the entire state is saying that we can pull someone off the street right now and have them manage that clock better?
It's just wild.
It's crazy.
Like, so the whole like fake punt thing, okay? You know, if you're going to run a fake, okay, how about this? I don't even know where to freaking go from here.
I know where you could go from there.
Because listen, you wanted to fake. USC gave you a look and it freaked you out. Oh, timeout. No. Let's go for it. Okay, let's go for it.
Then
let's go for it then. DR trots out there. Okay, we're going. Yes.
Good.
Okay. You call the timeout. It seems like you're using this timeout for something. You don't do anything. You don't even do a hard count. You don't. Dylan's in shotgun and he like walks up back to the line and he starts doing like this, like.
Yeah, he's not even trying to make them jump. I thought, okay, maybe he's trying to make them jump. Just waving his hands? What are you doing? What are you doing? I've never seen this before.
Bro, that's crazy.
Like, are we crazy? Are we the dumb ones?
I can't imagine.
I am so confused on how you use the time, you waste a timeout, and we know how precious these are. We talked about it last week. Maybe if we had one more timeout, it changes play calling. It changes parts of this game against UCLA, right? You're so irresponsible at timeouts. He has been since day one. And then you don't call timeout for a fake punt. And then if you put your offense out there, you freaking go for it. You do not put your offense out there to take a freaking penalty and punt the ball away. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Connor, anything. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe we said anything.
I've got 0 words.
Like I've said this many times. He's a great ambassador for the program. He goes on shows and he reps the end very nicely. It's like at this point, dude, he's the CEO. It's like, I hate to do the whole Office Space thing, but on a game day, what exactly do you do here?
Yeah, the CEO thing is tricky. It's tricky when I would say, as a head coach, if you're going to be a CEO, the biggest part of your job is game management, right? You're making sure everybody does their job. And then the only task you have, which I am in the opinion that he needs to hire someone to help him this part. The only thing you have to do as a head coach during the game, because you're a CEO and you're letting your coaches do their job, is manage the clock in the timeouts and the challenges. That is your job as a coach. And he's done this at the highest level in the NFL, where he actually had to throw the red challenge flag. You don't even have to do that in college football. He's done it at the highest level, and he's so bad at it. It's terrible.
It concerns me. I know we talked and have talked a few times about Matt Rule gets in those pressers, and anymore, the man looks like he's not sleeping. But he does seem to say the right things for the most part.
Always.
And we've talked about, is this genuine or is it coach speak? And is this a snake oil salesman?
Yeah.
And it's starting to, nearing the end of year 2,
starting to feel like that.
Starting to feel like I'm buying snake oil, like a lot of it.
8-year contract. We do have another super chat in here. And I think this kind of goes with this Rule theme.
BA again or someone else?
This is from RJ Bacani. I've never seen RJ in here.
RJ.
Shout out to RJ.
What's up?
He put in here, even if we win one, how disappointing is the season? And I think that's tricky because
it's a tough line. It's a tough line to hoe right there.
Because my thing is this: if we get to 6, will I call this season successful? Yes. Because you got the monkey off your back. You finally did it. Now, I don't think we're going to get to 6. That's the issue I have right now is I don't think we're going to get to 6. But if they can do that, and they're going to need your help on Saturday because they're not doing it in Iowa City under the lights in Kinnick Stadium. That's just not going to happen. They need your help. If you're going to the game, show up, be loud, make it Colorado-esque because that's the only way that they're going to win and make it to a bowl game.
Yes, it's up to us, guys. It's up to us
again.
It's up to us.
We talked about it.
Colin Miller, it's up to you, buddy.
Did he block us?
You better be loud.
Did he block us yet?
I don't think so. No, he didn't block us. It's just, it's up to us. We have to do our job because our team is so mentally fragile that they need everything to be perfect for them. Everything has to go perfect. We have to create breaks for them.
Yep.
We have to help them. 90,000 people have to help them in the stadium. So if you are on the fence of showing up on Saturday, maybe you don't have any plans, go get tickets because I'm sure they're cheap as heck. Go get tickets.
Yeah.
But we as a fan base have to carry this program again. And to answer your question, is it a disappointment? No, because I think through all of the mental anguish that this team is going through, if they get to 6, it's progress because they won more games than they won last year. Mm-hmm. And 2, they finally get to take their name off the list of who hasn't been to a bowl game.
Yeah. That graphic that they put up there, of course, it's us at 8. Go on.
It hurts. But yeah, no, I don't think before the season started, I looked at the schedule and I sat here and told you good people, it's like, I see 9-3. Like, I think we can do that. And I'm disappointed in myself, but I'm at a moment right now that 6 wins, I will be ecstatic. I'm going to go buy a cake.
Well, and we get to go take a bowl trip as a podcast.
Yeah.
You got to remember that too. Like, we've been planning it all year. Matt Rule already said, he said, when we make our bowl game, right? He said at the beginning of the year at Big Ten Media Days, when we make our bowl game, that's nothing.
I was planning out. We were projected for Music City, and I was like, I'm going to look at all these great things to do in Nashville. I don't care where we go now.
New York City.
Give me something. I would not be disappointed at all.
I'll go to freaking Somalia.
Don't care.
Yeah. Or no, what country did Uzbekistan? this team needs a bowl game because
The practices.
listen,
That too.
Yes, that too. But when you play a game like football, coming from somebody who I haven't played football. Okay,
Yeah, look at you.
come on.
Yeah, we can tell.
But knowing what kind of game football is, it's physical and it's demanding, it's taxing physically and mentally. This team needs that carrot. They've been beaten with the freaking stick over and over. They need the bowl game carrot. All of our hard work resulted in something. We get a bowl game and we get a PS5 or whatever it is, right? They get a tangible thing at the end. This program needs that tangible thing. We did this. We accomplished this. Because if they don't, again, dude,
Well, and I
we're
think
in hell.
there's a massive intangible here too, is recruiting. Like, oh, hey, they're not the team that hasn't been to a bowl game in 9 years now.
Yeah.
They are getting better. Matt Rule is doing something. We've seen a lot of great recruits coming for 2025. I don't like,
And maybe more to come.
I'm happy they're coming. I don't understand why, but I'm happy they're coming.
Hey, this is why.
That's a
This is
big
why they're
part of
coming.
it.
Hey, RJ did follow up. He says, I agree. 6-6 is improvement, but the hype at the start of the season seems so concrete.
Yeah.
That we would show up and show out. I've been waiting to see us play our best football the last 4 games. You know, you're not alone, RJ.
Yeah.
You're not alone, and you're not crazy to think that. I think it kind of goes back to the salesman pitch where it's like maybe Matt Rule was overselling what we could do with this team. I also am on the other side of the fence where I think this team is talented enough to be winning way more games than this.
Hey, and let me say something, and I'm not defending Rule in any way because he needs to go on these shows on Joel Klatt and sell what's going on.
Be an ambassador.
Okay.
Yep.
But it's also up to us to
Not buy it.
well, I'm not saying not buy it. Just you have to meet everything with skepticism a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
And the Kool-Aid drinkers out there are going, what? Like, especially now, especially after what we've seen this year, if this team ends up being 0-10 when you need to get to 6, you need to meet everything with an ounce of skepticism. Okay. So that's like up to us as fans to not go, God, 7-0 looks reasonable, or God, they could be on the outside chance of a playoff. That's you. Listen, I said 7-5.
I said 7-5.
So, it's up to us to also not be freaking nuts with this. And I'm not saying you're nuts,
I was.
but maybe RJ was a little nuts. I don't know. Skepticism is healthy. It's healthy.
Well, I think it goes back to kind of what we do as a podcast versus like what you read on the mainstream Husker media, where they're always sugarcoating what's going on and this and that and giving you too much information so that you are buying the hype yourself. And you're like, there's no way this team doesn't win 9 games. I think it goes back to checking where you're getting your information and making sure you have somebody like a No Block No Rock or somebody like us that can bring you back down to earth a little bit and remind you that this team is where they are, because I think we do an okay job at that. It's so hard to sit there and listen to the Husker Onlines of the world and all this stuff and not expect greatness out of this team, because the CEO of this program already sells it so well. And we have a tough time sometimes taking that in and being like, what? Why can't we be so great? He's saying we're going to be so great, right?
Yeah.
But then you have to be able to take a step back and be like, this is the program. This is who we are. We've seen it. I have evidence. My eyes in my brain they have evidence to tell me that we're going to lose 20-28 yesterday. I knew it was going to happen, right? I knew at that point in the game, we were going to not make a stop when we needed to. And when we got the ball back, we weren't going to score. You as a fan needs to use the evidence that has been given to you when you make these crazy predictions and have all these lofty expectations.
There are a few entities out there that cannot afford apathy.
Correct.
And that is the football program itself and we'll say more official media outlets that cover this team. Those are the two entities in this state that cannot afford apathy. So they have to sell Kool-Aid.
They have to.
Go on, Connor.
I don't think you have to sell Kool-Aid. Like we are sitting here talking to I don't know how many people right now.
250 people.
250 people. And do we sell Kool-Aid? We don't.
Not really.
You're
We try.
correct to say that we're not quite an official media outlet.
That's why I'm kind of deferring us from.
Yeah, I think it's fair to, like we do. We talk about the triumphs. We do have a little bit of Kool-Aid to talk about. Let's see it right.
We try to be reasonable.
We try to show those positives, but we're not going to sit here all day and tell you everything is fine. That's just, it's not things are not good right now.
Yeah, it's so tough. RJ had one more follow-up. He said, no, I'm not nuts. I thought 7-5, but I can't see us get that. I feel nuts to tune in every Saturday to watch the same thing play out. And I'll still watch next week. And he's got the peanuts. Exactly.
Nuts.
Because you are a Husker fan that has been carrying this program for 20 years. That is what happens. That is our job. We show up and do our job every Saturday, even if the team does not.
Like going back to the game a little bit, traumas, the secondary. And when we talk about the secondary, there are guys that are more experienced that stand out because they didn't play well. Okay. We've already named Gifford. Singleton,
effort.
Hartzog, But it's like you have these players that are hangers on. They're hangers on from like COVID and stuff. And they've been here a while.
And they don't know what winning is.
And you know what I'm afraid of, guys? I'm afraid that Matt Rule's a good guy. I think he's a good human. He wants to do favors for people. Hey, Isaac Gifford, you've been here a while. We thank you for putting in all this work. I want you to reap the benefits of your hard work. So even though you're probably not the most talented guy, I'm going to play you because I want you to feel fulfilled in what you've done here. And what I'm afraid of is the stink from the losing culture from years past. It's infecting the guys that Rule is bringing in. These guys that Rule is bringing in, I'm afraid are going to get infected by the losing stench of the guys that we have kept on for 5-ish years. That's what I'm afraid of. There's Ty Robinson. I feel like he's played very well. For the most part.
He's a baller, dude.
He's not really a guy that I'm talking about here, but go on.
Well, these people that are like, oh, get rid of all the Frost guys, don't play the Frost. Like, you got to remember that some of these guys are balling out. John Bullock, balling out. All Big Ten level.
Yep.
Ty Robinson,
hold on
all
a second.
Big Ten.
Hold on. That's a question that I had for you. Who on this team is all Big Ten caliber?
Okay, I can name
two.
Two. I got two.
You're Gumby.
I'm not Gumby.
Do you know who Gumby is?
I think John Bullock. If you look at the big picture, the entire season, John Bullock has played at an all Big Ten level, and I would say maybe second team, third team.
John Bullock is not making an all Big Ten team, but go on. I'm sorry, but he's just not.
Definitely Ty most definitely is playing at an all Big Ten level, and he has all year. The dude gets held. There's a picture from yesterday's game. Guy all the way around his neck. Of course. Why would we call holding when a guy is around your neck? What? Why? Right? We don't get those calls. We are back on. We need to start the tracker again of how many games it's been since we've got a holding call against us, because we have a fairly dominant defensive line at times, and they get held every play, and we get no flags. Just saying.
Listen, John Bullock, I thought would be all Big Ten caliber. He was very good in the first half of the year. Fallen off. He had a nice little deflection yesterday. I'll give him that. Mm-hmm. Ty Robinson, I think he'll make third team. Dude, there's, and I know we've said in the past that talent in general is not an issue because look, they're in every game they play.
Yes.
Besides Indiana, they're in every game. Every game that what's good. There's enough talent on this team to go to a bowl. It's all mental, dude.
It's all mental.
It's all it is. And we have to, Connor, I guess this is for you. I don't know, dude.
What? I don't like where this is going.
Like we gotta get off the close losses equals progress thing. because all that does is builds up emotional and mental scar tissue and teaches you how to lose over and over and over. That's all I got to say.
And
Yeah,
we were.
I
we
don't
said
want
the
to
same
sit
thing, though.
here. Yeah, I don't want to sit here and say we should accept losses.
No, I know.
Nobody's saying that.
No.
It's just if we were really hanging in, like some of these games, like yesterday after halftime, didn't really feel that competitive. Ohio State, it felt competitive for a little bit, and then it wasn't. Indiana certainly was not at any point. It's like we're in these games, but again, yeah, I think there's this mental weakness. Like getting down the stretch, we just can't do it.
We bought that one time this year. Matt Rule said, this was championship mindset against Ohio State.
Yeah.
We bought the whole, but it means nothing if if we lay an egg against UCLA, and they did. So
yeah,
I am officially, I don't care if it's Ohio State. I don't care if it's Oregon. I don't care who it is. If it's Georgia, Alabama, if we have a close loss to those teams, I don't care.
Don't care.
This team will play to the level of their competition no matter who it is.
Yep.
No matter who it is.
That's right.
So if you're a close loss person, you're like, well, they tried. No. We are beyond that. We have numbers that don't even make sense statistically anymore. We are an anomaly when it comes to close losses.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. We are at a point where it seriously feels like we're an NFL team. And every NFL game, if you watch the Sunday slate today, there's going to be tons of one-score games.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this team plays like. But we're on the losing end every single time.
It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. And Mike, when we do lose by one score, do we go up in the rankings?
No.
No, we don't.
No.
We don't.
No.
So, yeah, I'm tired of saying like, oh, we really hung tight. I don't care. I want to win.
You know what you can always bet on with this freaking team is, they're kind of driving a little bit, right? This is the last drive of the game.
Right.
We got to score.
Right.
Timeout. Sure. Whatever. Timeout. First play out of a timeout. What happens?
False start.
Mm-hmm.
Bank on it.
If there's a way I could live bet that, I would be betting that every single time.
What is that, guys? So you come out of a timeout and it's a false start. You go back 5 yards, right? What is that? What is that, guys? What is it?
It's a momentum killer. In a time where you can't afford it.
No, you know what? It's a curse. It's the football gods have cursed us, guys.
No, they're just undisciplined.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate
to
call it what it is.
I hate to call other people mentally weak because I think I'm mentally weak in my own thing, right? You guys are soft.
Do you know who did it though? Every single time this year? 54. Every time it's the same guy.
A hanger on.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Next time we make a head coaching change, which I fear is not that far away.
Oh, it's far away.
I hope you're right.
That 8-year commitment.
I hope you're right, Mike. But you know what? If we make a freaking change, we got to get rid of past players.
I don't think you have to get rid of the players.
How do you do it? I don't know. Just do it.
I think you just have to, base your starters on merit and not how long you've been here.
Meritocracy.
Yes.
Right? Where everything you get is based off of skill or productivity. And I feel like that has that happened? I don't know.
Somebody put in the chat, and this is something I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk about. The Scott Frost curse, right? So you could say Scott Frost curse, and I kind of might be with you here because back in 2020, even though we didn't deserve it, we could have gone to a bowl game, and this streak would never existed.
Are the bowl gods angry with us?
I don't know, but it's one of those things. It's like if I'm going to give you, I'm like, hey Connor, here's $100, and you're like, nah, I'm good. Like after that, I'm never giving you anything else ever again.
Yeah.
Right?
Why would you come back next time and be like, hey, you still want that $100?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Hey, could I borrow something? Could I borrow a little bit of money? I need to go buy a Big Mac or something. No, I offered you the money once. I'm not doing it again. Enough is enough.
It's so funny. You know what's so funny about not choosing to go to that bowl game is like in the preseason, you were known as the team that fought to play.
Yep.
You choose to not play.
And they're like, hey, we'll let you play
in
again.
Uzbekistan. We don't care.
What a bunch of. Oh my God. What's the word I can say on Hurrdat?
Clowns. Call them clowns.
Sure.
Just soft. They're just soft.
It's
Sock, weak-minded. Like,
God.
but I seriously, I wonder that sometimes. It's like, because we didn't do that in 2020, it is still somehow in the water in Lincoln now.
We had like families that wanted to sue the conference.
There was real lawsuits. Real lawsuits.
You choose to not play in the bowl, even though you didn't deserve it at all.
I'm going to go full conspiracy Connor here.
Oh boy.
That because we denied that bowl game after we raised such a stink, the NCAA has now colluded against Nebraska, and that is why we get these horrible calls at the end of a USC game.
No.
That is it. I have found the deep state. It is the NCAA.
Deep state.
It's honestly just I don't know if it's on there for officiating again, but
No, I did not put it. Okay.
But Jared, we talked about this yesterday when we were watching the game together. Since that Purdue game, where we got like 7 pass interference calls, right?
Well, actually, I think it was 8. But
Okay.
It could be 7.
We got all these pass interference calls, and I said, Jared, I'm scared that since we got that many in this one game, we might not get another one the rest of the year.
Indeed.
And we've gotten a couple since then, but I feel like this is going back to kind of what Matt Rule said, the way that they're officiating games. I feel like that's a little red flag. They're like, hey, Nebraska, this Raiola guy, he underthrows the ball. He underthrows the ball and fishes for flags.
Yep.
And the Big Ten's had enough with it, which is ridiculous because
a penalty's a penalty.
It's a flag.
Even if you're fishing for it, you've caught it. Like, you got the flag.
Right.
You have to. You can't just say, oh, he's trying to get that call.
Oh, man. The defender held on to his jersey. Like, you earned the earned the flag because you made the defender do the dumb thing.
Right. And he interfered with the pass. That's what the definition is.
The receiver had to do something different that wasn't natural because he got interfered with.
The thing about that particular play and the Banks one where he gets yanked is it wouldn't even determine the game. It's one of those things that if you call it, Nebraska gets the ball 15 yards closer and they still have to do it again. They still only have 4 seconds or 5 seconds, whatever it is. They get one more play and one more chance to throw out the end zone. You're not giving them the game if they do that. And then if they do score somehow, which wouldn't happen, but if they did, they would have to get the 2-point conversion.
And then they go to overtime.
Right. Yeah. And they would lose there.
Yeah, this is not what are the refs? We're not trying to get in the way of the outcome of this game. You're actively getting in the way because you're not giving a team a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I think the human element in officiating is obviously a real thing. I think Nebraska has a reputation and refs are human beings. And I think it's affecting how they call Nebraska games. And that's not a conspiracy. I just think that's the way human beings work.
Yeah.
We are flawed, and these refs are flawed.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Okay, another thing that I'm mad about. Holgerson comes in, whatever. Like, I see that our yards per attempt was 5 yards per pass attempt. And I'm thinking to myself, can't Harburg just do that? Or I see Jamal Banks wide open.
Yeah. In the end zone.
And Dylan doesn't throw it.
That was his option too. It was a pick play and he didn't throw it.
So I have questions. Why don't we just play Harburg then? Because at least Harburg can run. And but Harburg's a turnover machine. True.
Yeah.
How many interceptions did Dylan have yesterday? 2. So I don't know. I see Jamal Banks wide open, and our 5-star is too scared or injured to throw the ball to the wide open guy. You're a 5-star. Why? He's open. Are you scared to make a turnover? Because I could just put in Harburg then.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm overreacting and Dylan's the future, but holy moly, I fear that our quarterback isn't as good as other people have said, or that we have said, or anybody has said?
Through week 2, I believe, I was really excited watching Dylan have a 70 or 71% completion rate.
Yeah.
And now on the season, we're at 50. That is a massive drop.
Teams have adjusted accordingly.
Yeah. I'm not sitting here saying Dylan Raiola is a bad player. I'm saying this is a 19-year-old kid, and he's struggling.
A lot.
That's fair to say.
Yeah.
He is struggling. So I don't know if you're all that crazy for saying maybe we take a look at the Kearney Cannon.
The Kearney Cannon.
Yeah.
My one thing I want Husker fans to chill out about, though, is, well, he's making $1 million. He should be really good. I'm like,
I know.
At the end of the day, I don't care if he makes $1 million, if he makes $5. At the end of the day, it doesn't change the amount of experience he has on the college football field. He's still a true freshman. He's going to make true freshman mistakes. And we did not see those mistakes early on. We were like, where are they? His first 2 picks were just your guy not being a dog, right?
Yep.
I really hate this whole NIL perspective now where it's like, oh, because he's paid this much, he has to perform. It's the NFL model, right? There is still a flaw in the NFL model because those guys are all trained athletes that played in college and all these things, right?
Right.
Dylan is playing the most important position in football, and he's still a true freshman quarterback. I don't care how much NIL money he got.
Right.
He still is learning in the fire. And it's an issue. We don't like watching that, the growing pains. They hurt. They hurt really bad. But I think when you start throwing this whole NIL thing and putting all these unnecessary expectations on Dylan, I think it probably bothers him too. He probably knows he should be playing better. And it's just, it drives me nuts. And people are like, well, he's making all that money. He should play better. I'm like, who cares how much money he makes? I don't care how much money you make.
And
money doesn't equal talent. It's not what it is. And we're not saying he has a lack of talent. Again, he's just going through some growing pains. Give the kid a break. Literally a kid.
Yeah. And people are going to say, maybe our coaching staff maybe somewhat ruined him, at least for this year, because through the latter half of the 9 games, he has Coach Sat coaching him and Glenn Thomas doing whatever Glenn Thomas does.
He's making money.
He's making money.
Yeah, that's what he does. 10 games, you're no longer a freshman, is what John said. I agree with you, but at the end of the day, he's still a freshman.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he's essentially got 1 season of experience now, but
not even.
Yeah. Yeah, not even a full season yet. So
yeah, it's tough.
And look, assuming Holgorsen stays, like that's going to be the kernel of hope that we will try to plant in this soil, even if they don't make a bowl game this year. And assuming Dylan stays, that'll be the kernel of hope that we have is, okay, well, Holgorsen's back. We know his history with quarterbacks, and it's a pretty good one.
Yeah. Can he fix him? He's got all the talent in the world. Can Holgorsen fix him?
We keep saying that, but Jesus,
can't throw a D-ball.
He's underthrowing every ball.
Yeah.
And like he's injured and his back hurts.
Yeah.
And it's like, is that going to linger? How long is that going to linger for?
Yeah. Well, I think during the Purdue game, we were sitting there talking about like, if Dylan is underthrowing these intentionally to get those flags, genius move.
Right.
I'm starting to not be super convinced it's intentional.
It just doesn't get there.
Yeah. I don't think it's super intentional.
I think at points it is intentional. I just think there are just throws that you're scratching your head like, why can't you just throw that ball farther? We know you have a big arm. Throw it farther.
It looks like a duck.
Yeah.
Another thing I'm mad about. Mike says 10 minutes.
We got 10 minutes left.
10 minutes left in your therapy session. Then you got to get out. A big thing that Matt Rhule has preached since coming here is targeting players that have great measurables. They can run fast. They can jump high. Their long jump is they can jump a whole football field, right? So the Jalen Lloyd erasure makes me like, it disappoints me on one end, and on the other end, it makes me very mad because like there's certain reasons for that too, because Jalen Lloyd's probably your fastest player, right? The most athletic player.
You would think.
He's from here. And I think that might factor in a little bit of my frustration is you got an Omaha kid who's probably your fastest player. And the only time he touches the ball is when there's 2 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And he makes the best catch of the game probably on the sideline. And
he got 4 feet in.
He's quadruple tapping his feet, right? Why is Jalen Lloyd touching the ball with 2 seconds left in the game and those are his only targets? You know, Jalen Lloyd last year, guys, he was kind of like your Trey Palmer.
Yeah.
He was your deep threat. Where is he? Is he not practicing good enough? Is he doing things off the field not great? I don't know. Based off everything that we've heard about Jalen Lloyd, model player, model citizen, most athletic guy, Matt Rule preaches it. Why doesn't he touch the ball ever?
Maybe it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of the year. We talked about Nair. We talked about Banks. We talked about Barney. We talked about all these guys. And we said, is there too many cooks in the kitchen? Is there too many weapons, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Jalen is just falling out of the rotation because we have too many. But going back to your point.
I got something for you. If that's the case, I got something for you, Mike. But go on.
No, I don't agree with this. I'm just saying that's probably my guess is that there is only certain packages that Jalen Lloyd can play in. Maybe he's still just that go route guy. I don't know because we're not seeing the go route anyways, right?
Yeah, the go route ain't working.
So
it ain't going.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't get it because you're going to play the Isaac Giffords of the world because they're Nebraska guys, right? But we're not going to play Jalen Lloyd, who's your fastest player, more often.
And actually did it last year.
Right.
It's not like, oh, his measurables are great. Well, yeah. And he what was that stat last year where he led the country in big plays next to Marvin Harrison?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He actually did it. Where has he been this whole year, dude? This whole year.
It's an issue.
Yeah, I've got no answers for you.
Okay. And maybe this kind of goes back to you bring Jamal, you bring in Nair, and you're making promises to these guys because that's how you get them in here, right? You have to make little promises. Yeah. There's a reason why you're transferring because you didn't play in your previous school. So you'll come here and you'll play.
Right. And we're going to choose these guys, these experienced guys, over guys like Malachi Coleman, who has not played all year. Maybe played one game. I don't know. I'm just saying, you tell these guys that are coming in, these transfers, and with this being said, I hope they go get transfer receivers again because we're going to need help on the outside again. But it's one of those things.
Yeah.
You're choosing these guys, these Nair and Banks, who are experienced receivers, over your homegrown guys, and you're building this developer program, right? Development, right?
Yeah.
We're going to have Malachi sit all year. Also one of your fastest guys.
Riley Van Poppel is going to sit
all year. All year. His second year of college football, by the way.
Yeah.
It's weird. I hope next year we're sitting here saying, I'm glad he did. And we got him for this many more years. I hope that's what's happening. But it is very head scratching for a guy like Jalen Lloyd who isn't redshirting.
Yep.
And he's not doing anything. He's not playing on the field. You've got who's that running back that's back there doing kick returns?
Ives.
Quentin Ives.
Yeah.
You got Quentin Ives out there. You don't think Jalen Lloyd could catch a kick? Maybe see what he can do. He's fast, right? Find more creative ways to get your playmakers the ball. He's a playmaker.
I would 100% agree with that. That's actually a take I had not thought about.
He's already done it.
Sticking him back there, yeah.
He's done it. He did it last year as a true freshman. God. You know what I hate? I just hate being, Mike says 5 minutes. I hate being practice for other teams. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nebraska's football team is practice for everybody else.
It's their tune-up game.
You know what I mean?
Before whoever they play the next week.
Right.
Oh, Lincoln Riley. Oh, God. He's going through it. USC's in a bad place. New quarterback who hasn't started for USC yet.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Purdue hung with
We're
us.
always practice for other teams.
Yeah.
Well, That's the thing. We find out too later on that maybe they're not that good though. So, although UCLA did go beat Iowa, so that's kind of funny.
And like the other thing about the offense too is it's sad that we force a fumble, we recover the fumble, Mekhi Bear.
Mhm.
The first thing that when that ball's on the ground and I see him like kind of scoop it up, this is before he trips and falls.
Run.
Score! This offense isn't going to do it. You had Sierra Wright. Thank you for scoring. Thank you for being the offense, Sierra Wright. Thank you for scoring. You can't fall. You got to score, man. You got to score. That's sad. That's the first thing I think of. It's not, yay, we forced a turnover.
That was a good
play. Have to score. You cannot trip over your own feet. And maybe I have to rewatch the game. Maybe somebody got their hand on his foot and he tripped him. He got a little shoelace.
He's not used to carrying the ball.
Man.
It's so crazy to me to look at this offense. Let's go back to just before the season starts. Looking at this offense, thinking this is high-powered. This is an offense that is going to hopefully just score at will. And it has been so disappointing.
It's bad.
That we're banking on the defense to score. We need it.
It was bad enough.
I'm pulling his teeth. It's like watching a Nebraska offense.
It was bad enough that we fired our OC with still 3 games left to play.
Desperate move.
Yeah.
And not only just fired him, we hired a guy that wasn't coaching, who wasn't in the program at all.
You know what I love?
That's so bad.
Mike, I said on Monday it was a desperate move. You said, I disagree because you're an idiot. I'm just joking. You're not an idiot.
Thank you. And I still don't think it's
don't be mean.
I still don't think it's a desperate move. So
Do you know why it's desperate? Well, for one, because Nebraska sucks. Second of all, he knows that. Third of all, he knows he's in trouble. Fourth of all, he completely flipped Matt Rule. Completely flipped on his own philosophy.
Yep.
Right?
Because it wasn't working.
What was his philosophy before? We're going to hire like 20-year-olds that are up and coming. Oh, yeah. And I know Sat really wasn't that. But Holgerson? Oh, Mullet, who's just throws back Red Bulls, and he's been doing it for 50 years, completely goes against his own philosophy. Desperate. We got to. Did you guys see that graphic yesterday about Matt Rule, about the bowl game? We got to make a bowl game. Desperate.
It's bad. It's bad. We've got 2 minutes left, guys.
Sorry. Every time I come into these episodes, I go, I do not want to talk. I freaking hate doing this, but then I just get going. And I think we're going to go over time because of it.
It's just what we do. We've got 335 people in here.
Like any super chats or anything?
No super chats. We've got people comparing Nebraska and Indiana. And it doesn't take time, all this stuff. Well, we had Nebraska comparing to Coach Prime and some other stuff.
Yeah.
And then back to clock management from BA.
Sure.
And then one guy said Rayola knows he's not competing for his position, so he doesn't care. He knows he's not going to lose it. I mean, that's tricky too.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Like, let's say going into Wisconsin, we do bench him. The fan base erupts. Like, what are you doing? You don't bench Dylan. And let's say we can't. We can't.
You literally can't because the Rayolas, let's go back to this really quick. The Rayolas are the most powerful family in the state of Nebraska. Let's make that clear. They are more powerful than all of those elected people that you just elected.
Jim Pillen wishes.
Yeah.
They are the most powerful family in Nebraska. Dylan will not be benched. And you know what? I think this is a good way to close out your counseling session.
Yes, join us next week.
No, join us tomorrow, though.
Yeah, we will be back tomorrow.
We will be doing our live show tomorrow at 6 p.m. Same platforms at NBNR Podcast. And just want to remind you that next Sunday, we will be at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill in La Vista, Nebraska. If you want to watch us live and listen to us talk about, hopefully, the Wisconsin winning streak ended. We are making a bowl game. We're planning our trips. Who knows?
Mike, do you want to plug our bonus episode this week as well?
We do have a bonus episode with Neil Smith.
Hey,
former Husker. I think that will be on Wednesday. So
you want to talk about a dog?
Yeah. His son is on the team, and we are fortunate that we got to lock him in for an interview on Wednesday. So you get a bonus episode as well. So you get MBNR 3 times this week: Sunday, Monday, Wednesday. So make sure you guys tune in 6 o'clock on all of our platforms. Let's wrap this thing up, guys.
We'll see you
Sounds
next
good.
week. We'll see you next Sunday. Hopefully crying happy tears and
Happy
not
tears.
sad ones. Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Go.